action after the U.S. and British militaries bombed multiple sites in Yemen. AP correspondent Jennifer King.
In a statement, President Biden says the strikes were meant to demonstrate that the U.S. and its allies will not tolerate attacks by Houthi militants on ships in the Red Sea. The U.S. Air Force's Mideast Command says it struck over 60 targets at 16 sites. It was the first U.S. military response to drone and missile attacks on commercial ships since the start of the Israel-Hamas war. Houthi rebels have carried out 27 attacks involving dozens of drones and missiles since November 19th.
The reason for last night's action was self-defense.
Talking to Sky News, UK Defense Minister James Heappey notes that 2 nights ago, British and American Navy ships suffered attacks as well.
Attacks onto HMS Diamond, a Royal Navy destroyer that is currently in the southern Red Sea alongside 3 U.S. Navy destroyers.
In reaction from Yemen, a Houthi military spokesman, Brigadier General Yahya Saree, vowed retaliation, saying there were 73 raids with 5 military members killed and 6 wounded. Jennifer King, Washington.
New York-based Human Rights Watch is accusing Israel of war crimes and says many governments are expressing selective outrage over atrocities committed in the conflict in Gaza. VOA's Henry Ridgewell.
With major conflicts in Ukraine and Gaza, the Human Rights Watch annual report says 2023 was a formidable year for human rights suppression, marked by tremendous human suffering. Human Rights Watch also highlights the suffering caused by conflict in Sudan and in Myanmar, where the military junta continues its deadly campaign against ethnic minority groups. Henry Ridgewell, VOA News, London.
Meanwhile, Tesla says it's temporarily halting most of the production at its German factory because of attacks in the Red Sea, a vital global shipping corridor. The electric vehicle maker says its factory near Berlin, which makes Model Y vehicles and batteries, will pause from January 29th to February 11th. This is VOA News. U.S. House Speaker Mike Johnson has offered no clear path for overcoming hard-right opposition within his own party to prevent an impending partial government shutdown next week. He says during a briefing that he heard the concerns of the House Republican caucus, but he is going forward with a spending deal he made with Democrats.
I became Speaker. I committed to decentralizing the Speaker's office and making this a member-driven process. That's been part of this. Our top-line agreement remains. We are getting our next steps together, and we are working toward a robust appropriations process.
Dozens of Kenyan lawyers have demonstrated peacefully in Nairobi, protesting what they say is judicial interference by President William Ruto. Ruto has said he will disregard court orders from allegedly corrupt judges blocking his key development projects. In recent days, Ruto has also repeatedly threatened to remove judges he accuses of teaming up with his political rivals to frustrate his attempts to address unemployment and provide affordable housing and universal health care. But the head of state has not produced any evidence to back his claims that some judges are corrupt. Some 200 lawyers Friday blew whistles and waved placards as they marched through the streets of the capital. The U.S. will intensify its oversight of Boeing after a series of problems. We get more from AP correspondent Rita Foley.
The FAA is going to keep a closer eye on Boeing after that panel blew off a jetliner in mid-flight last week, the latest in a string of problems for Boeing's 737 MAX 9 aircraft. The FAA will increase oversight of the company and audit the 737 MAX 9 production line, as well as the company's parts suppliers, to check on quality procedures. This comes just a day after the FAA announced an investigation into whether Boeing failed to make sure that the panel that flew off the Alaska Airlines jet was safe. The plane had to make an emergency landing, but fortunately nobody was said to be seriously hurt. Earlier this week, Boeing's CEO said the company is acknowledging its mistake, and he said this can never happen again. I'm Rita Foley.
The son of Somalia's president has testified at an Istanbul court about the death of a motorcycle courier in the city. An arrest warrant had been issued after a diplomatic car he had been driving allegedly hit the courier at an Istanbul highway in November. The private news agency says the court revoked the arrest warrant and travel ban after Mohammed Hassan Sheikh Mohamud gave a statement. The death had threatened to sour friendly relations between Turkey and Somalia. An indictment prepared by the Istanbul Chief Public Prosecutor's Office calls for a prison sentence of 2 to 6 years for causing death by negligence.
Thank you for watching. Can you do me a favor? Please leave a comment in the comments section below. That would really help. Thank you, and see you again soon.